everyone. All right, so second trading day of 2025 in the books, locking it up green. This is a little tricky here where we're starting the new year on a Thursday and a Friday. I'd prefer to start the new year at the beginning of the week where we've got sort of a full week ahead of us, not at the end of the week. Having the holiday fall on Wednesdays this year definitely threw things off a little bit. It kind of made these last couple of weeks just lighter volume. A lot of people probably took the whole week off or took the long weekend, took Thursday, Friday off. So it wasn't surprising that yesterday was a little choppy, and same with today. And the thing that made yesterday work was that we had a stock that had breaking news and then it squeezed up 100%, and boom, I got my daily goal just on that stock. 2 times my daily goal actually. Actually, it's 3 times my daily goal on that one stock, but I was red on something else from earlier. So I finished yesterday at around $12,000, which was solid. This morning, unfortunately, we didn't get that one really obvious setup. We had a number of penny stocks that were moving. That sort of dispersed attention across the market a little bit. There were like 3 or 4 stocks up over 100%, which is great, but none of them were stocks I'd really like to trade. So I had to kind of do an honest assessment of the market today and say, you know what? Unfortunately, even though I feel great and I'm ready to hit the ground running and have a big green day, this is not going to be a day where I'm probably going to get a big home run trade, because the market, condition of the market right now, it's focused on penny stocks. It's not typically what I do well with. And so I'm going to have to be content with just kind of trying to hit a base hit today. So you know what? That's exactly what happened. Locked up a couple of base hits on a few different stocks, finishing just a couple $100 shy of the daily goal. I can't complain. Life is good. Great way to finish the week. Great way to start the new year. 2 green days in a row. And then next week, Monday, be back at it, and we get to kind of jump into, what I think will be more regular trading. Now, if we continue to see attention on penny stocks, that'll be tricky for me. But these are sort of the ebb and flow waves of the market. So if right now we get into a penny stock cycle, that's fine. Ride that out. Then we'll get back to the stocks that are more $3 to $10 range, which is kind of where I really thrive. So, all right, with that, let's go ahead and jump into today's recap. And before I do, let me just remind you guys that our New Year's sales are ending soon. All right, so this is going to be coming up here on final call to become a member of Warrior Trading using the New Year coupon code, the special discount that you guys get on your Warrior Starter or Warrior Pro bundle. So if you haven't already checked them out, jump over to the website, warriortrading.com. You can click the Join Now button, and you can see the 3 special discounts that we have on the Warrior Starter, the Warrior Pro, and the Warrior Pro Special Bundle that includes a year of access to my live audio video broadcast. All right, so check those out, and let's go ahead and jump into today's recap. All right, so let's go over the trades here from this morning. So sat down today, same as pretty much every other day, right around 7 a.m., which, I'm actually an hour ahead of you, so it's actually was 8 a.m. local time for me, but nonetheless, sat down here 7 a.m. and Eastern Standard Time, and was asking myself, what is the obvious trade? And I'll say that I was a little disappointed to notice that all of the leading gainers on the day were low-priced penny stocks. I just, unfortunately, seeing these all being cheap, doesn't work super well for me. I don't usually trade these very well for a couple reasons. I find that on these lower price stocks, the way that I like to trade, and we could just look at SPCB as one of the stocks I traded today and got a couple nice trades on. So like this type of setup here, where I'm taking a break through high a day, something like that, taking an entry at like 960 for that high a day break. That's a breakout trade. So I'm in at 960 looking for the high a day break. And this gave us a move from 960 all the way to 1040, 80 cents a share. 80 cents. All right, now I didn't capture the whole thing. You never capture the whole thing, but I got a good piece of it, and that was nice. So now let's look at NITO. NITO today, lower price stock, right? So this one initially pops up right here, had news that came out, it squeezes up, it dips down, pops up, dips down, pops up, dips down, and it goes here from $1.80 up to $2. So your breakout on the high day there is 20 cents. It's 20 cents. Then it breaks here $2 and it goes up to about $2.30. So it's like a 30-cent breakout. And those were your 2 biggest breakouts of the day. Now, the problem is if the total move is only 20 cents and you're never going to capture the whole thing, you might not, how much are you going to capture of it? Maybe 10 cents, maybe half? Well, the problem here is that if you're trading with a broker like the broker I'm using, I pay fees and commissions on every share that I route to the market. So this broker that I'm using, it's great. I mean, there's a lot of things that I really like about it, but it's going to be more expensive. So when you look at the level 2 of a stock, you could see all these different routes: NASDAQ, BATS, EDGX, da da da. With the broker that I'm using, I can actually select which route I'm going to send my order through. So by doing this, if I see a seller, or I see a seller or a buyer right there, I could go sell shares directly to that buyer. I don't have to have my order get rerouted across the market. I can just sell directly to that person. And that's going to be a really fast execution. If you're using a commission-free broker, your orders get routed through the institutional traders that pay for the order flow. And a lot of times your order doesn't even make it out to the market, which can work during regular trading hours with market orders. You can get these nice fills, but pre-market, it's not as easy. So anyways, I do pay that routing fee for every share that I route to the market. And so my feeling right now, and by the way, SPCB is popping back up here, which is nice. So my feeling is that I want to trade stocks where I can get 30, 40, 50 cents a share potential. And when I'm looking at a stock that best case scenario is giving me 5 cents or 8 cents or 10 cents, there's not enough meat on the bone to make that trade worthwhile, especially when you factor in fees and commissions. So NITO, that for me was a no-go. I was just like, I mean, actually, I did take one trade on it, and I took 20,000 shares of it, and I made 2 cents a share. So 20,000 shares bought and sold. That's going to be 40,000 shares. 40,000 shares times 0.003 is going to cost $120 in fees and commissions. $120 for that trade. So 20% of my profit, more than, is gone. 25% of my profit is fees and commissions. So, it just gets to be one of those things where the risk and reward just doesn't really add up. It doesn't really make sense. So, I mean, I did take one trade on it, thinking maybe I was getting dialed in on a spot where it would pull away, but anyways, it didn't. That did not end up being the case. So it is what it is. So when I sat down and looked at the scans and saw TGL up, at one point like 400%, I was thinking, all right, that's a nice percentage gain, but from 60 cents to 90 cents, I mean, that's a big move. That is a big move. 30 cents. That's definitely nice to see, but it doesn't hold. So so that. Can't work with that. And then MFI, this one's lower priced. Grinder, trading in a small range. I really can't work with that. NITO, I tried, but couldn't get anything going on that. CYCC, same thing. So now look, we've got our top 5 leading gainers. These are the stocks people are going to be looking at. They're the most obvious. Now remember, commission-free brokers, they want you trading. And so they're going to be sending out these top lists of stocks that are moving, the stocks that are the most active. And so all the stocks on those top lists today happen to be stocks that I don't trade very well. Now, that's just the luck of the draw. So I could try to force it and say, well, I'm going to trade stocks that I don't really like because that's what's moving today. And maybe that'll work. Maybe it won't. Statistically, it does not work. Or I could say, I'm going to trade stocks that I do like, but I also have to be cognizant of the fact that the stocks that I do like may not be the obvious stock today. So let's say SPCB, which is the stock that I made the most money on, let's say that was the only stock that was up big today. Everything else was nothing. This was the most obvious stock in the entire market. Well, then you've got sort of this trifecta where you've got all the commission-free broker traders. They're all focusing on it. They might like to trade penny stocks more because they don't have to deal with commissions, but there's no penny stocks in play. So they're going to be focusing on it. Retail traders like myself who trade with more professional brokers, well, we're going to be focusing on it. And then you get that sort of, you don't have dispersed attention. You get all the focus on that one stock and you get clean follow through, you get clean action. And so I kind of had to ask myself today, is this the type of day where, I should step up, I should be aggressive and I should push it? Or is this just like a base hit day? And from 6:45 a.m. I was pretty convinced it was going to be a base hit day because we didn't have anything that, well, because the leading gainers weren't going to fit within my strategy for being super aggressive. So I thought even if something does pop up, we're going to be fighting with a bit of dispersed attention. And I just don't think that it's probably going to work as well as if we, had a better kind of day. So that was kind of how I started. I was like, all right, I'm going to be dealing with this issue. So already from the very beginning, set expectations lower and went with smaller size. So 7 a.m. comes and goes, no setups. 7:30 comes and goes, no setups. 8 a.m., boom, we have news on CRNC. I took a trade on it. Now, the float on this one is higher. So of my 5 pillars of stock selection, the one pillar that this didn't really meet was float, and that's one of the most important pillars. However, the news headline spikes on the news headline was down here, expands collaboration with NVIDIA. NVIDIA, keyword. Okay, and we know that we've seen other stocks with higher floats with the NVIDIA keyword that have made big moves. So for that reason alone, I said I should consider it. It pops up, and I got a trade in at about 960 for the break of 10, added at 10, it ends up squeezing up to a high of 1040, and was able to lock up a little bit of profit. Now that was at the very beginning of the move right here. It ends up pulling back down to 880, rallying back up to 1030, coming back up to a high of 11, pulling back, and then going back up here all the way to a high of 1120. However, and now it's got a high of about 1180. If this was really going to go parabolic, it would have happened pretty much immediately or within that, on that first 5-minute pullback. So although I broke the ice and made $1,800 on it, and I'm grateful for that, I went with smaller size, 1,000 share starter, added to 2,000, added to 3,000, took my profit, got back in, traded with relatively small size. So biggest position on CRNC, probably 4,000 shares times $10 a share. It's $40,000 position. That was my biggest position of the day on CRNC. Then I took the trades on SPCB. And SPCB made a big move yesterday, and as it started to curl up right here through 9, that was where I got my first trade on it. It then pulled back, got another trade, pulled back, got another trade, pulled back. Did not get this trade at the open. Just, wasn't sure about it. But nonetheless, got a couple nice trades on it. Biggest position on this was actually 6,000 shares, which was my last position, and it was a losing trade, which is annoying, but it's just the way it goes. So 6,000 shares times $10. So that was a $60,000 position. That was my biggest position of the entire day. So today, if I had had only $60,000 in my account, I would have been able to take all of my trades that I took today, and I'm up $4,800, which is pretty good. Now, in theory, with an account with $10,000 and 6 times leverage, I probably also could have taken all of these trades and my account would be up 48% on the day. But nonetheless, just to give you kind of a sense of the size of some of these trades today. So traded the whole day with small size. I mean, 20,000 shares on NITO, but that's a cheaper stock. So anyways, nonetheless, relatively small size all day today. And, I think that was the right move. So my one loss on SPCB, where I gave back $1,000 off the top, I did peak today at about 5,500, and then I added back. It was on this pullback, and it was right around here. I added back on this dip. I think it was on this bottoming tail candle for the pop back up over 6,000 shares. I didn't start with 6,000, but I added and added until I had 6,000, and then it dropped, and I lost about $1,000 on it, or 1,200. So that was my biggest loss of the day, and that was also kind of the cue where I was like, all right, now you're starting to get back profit. You're not really building much of a cushion here today. Let's not overstay your welcome, right? Let's just be green, be grateful, and live to trade another day. Hey, it's the beginning of the year, right? Don't push it. It's Friday after, a holiday week. Yesterday was kind of a little tricky. It was a green day, but a little tricky. I went into the red before rallying back into the green. Today, a little bit tricky as well. So, that's fine. So the question is this a market where I should dig deep, where I should size up, be aggressive, and potentially lock up some big winning trades? And I don't see any reason that the answer to that question would be yes for today. Now, it could be surprised and something ends up happening later in the day. But as of right now, I don't see any reason to size up and be super aggressive here. So I think I'm taking the right approach by taking the profit off the table, being grateful for what I have. May not be my daily goal, may not be as much as I've made on most days recently, but small green days are good. Keeping, the losses tight is important. Stopping out quickly when something's not working is critical. And, I followed the strategy today. Had a couple stocks that were a little outside the wheelhouse. SPCB, continuation, not super obvious. Ended up working, but not perfect. CRNC, higher float, easy to borrow. But the NVIDIA catalyst, NITO, cheaper, but started to move, didn't work. So that was what the market gave us today. I squeezed as much as I could out of it, but I see the writing on the wall, and I'm going to accept my fate that this is not going to be a record breaker green day for me, and that's okay. I'll live to trade another day. I'll be back at it bright and early Monday morning, and I'll be back in my office. So the best thing about being back in my office is that I will have my full, all my monitors. The only thing that's been tough about this is that I'm catching a lot of glare on this one monitor, and look, it's nice to be somewhere sunny, so I don't want to be a complainer, but it's kind of hard to see these laptop monitors when you're in a really bright room. So, I would love to stay here for another week, but I'm going back, and I'll be back on Monday in my office, and that's just fine too. So anyways, I'll be home on Monday, and that'll be the beginning of what would have been the first full week of January, except that Jimmy Carter died, and so we got the market closed on Thursday. Well, I'm going to be sure to mourn all day long because the market's closed and there's nothing else that we'll be able to do. So have our day of mourning on Thursday, and that's January 9th. And then, so it's going to be like a 3-day week next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then markets close Thursday, and then Friday, I don't know what to expect for Friday. So I don't know. But anyways, it's fine. So we'll have our 3-day week, and then Friday, and then the following week will be our first full week of January. So we're really only going to get 3 full weeks of January, but that's okay. All right. So with that, I'll see you guys back at it bright and early Monday morning. And by the way, for those of you guys watching on YouTube, our sales will be ending soon, the New Year's sale. So if you haven't already checked them out, you can come over to the website. If you come to warriortrading.com, up on the main menu, you'll see the Join Now, and you'll see the holiday specials that we've got on Warrior Starter, Warrior Pro, and this Warrior Pro Special Bundle, which will give you a year of access to my chat room and broadcast. All right, so with that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. And reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow, and I will see you guys back here Monday morning. And stay tuned for some uploads over the weekend on YouTube because I do have some stuff scheduled. All right, so that's it for me, and I'll see you on Monday.